to Yin Breaths. This is a video about Yin Yoga, and I will be sharing with you one yoga pose that you can do at home. And this one will be targeted into our hip flexors and into the quads, okay? The front of the thigh space, which is also in correspondence with the stomach meridians in the body. Now for this pose, we will need some props, so go ahead and grab 2 blocks, okay? And it's also an option to use a strap. We will be doing some weight bearing onto a joint, so you go ahead and maybe grab a towel or a blanket as well to pad underneath that joint, okay? So we're just going to have this here on one side. Now, for this particular pose, I will also be sharing with you some variations as we take a functional yoga approach to accommodate for skeletal variations. Now, skeletal variations is something that exists in every single individual and in all parts of the body. I need to thank my teachers, Joe and Joe, for having taught me about skeletal variations, about this topic of anatomy. And all of us who are teaching with the knowledge of skeletal variations in our classes, we need to accredit this back to Paul and Susie Greeley. Alright? So for this pose that we're coming into, it will be primarily into the space here, the hip flexors, and into the quads, okay, the space here. As we come into the stomach meridians, and the stomach meridians actually run down from the face towards the front of the torso, on top of the thigh space, okay, where we're coming into, on top of the shins, and down into the feet. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and come into the pose. So I'd like you to come now onto your hands and knees here, okay, and we're going to go ahead and bring one foot forwards and to the front. I'm stepping my left foot forward so that I can show you the outside. So that I'm going to pad my right knee with my towel. So go ahead and pad it if you need to. Okay, if you are sensitive in the joints, please make sure that you protect the joints. Okay. Now from here, I'm just going to allow my hips to lean forwards into the front, sink forwards down this way. And when I do this, you can see that already here, I'm allowing a stretch to come into my thighs, into the quads, and into the hip flexors as well, this way. Now, if you notice, on my front foot, okay, when I shift forwards into the front, what happens is that my knee goes all the way forwards this way. And if you notice, my knee has gone beyond the line of my ankles and my toes. In most classes, especially in yang movement classes, you'll find that you're always advised to keep the knee over the line of the ankles, and that is for a different reason and a different purpose altogether, as you're doing maybe more dynamic strength-based work. In the functional approach, in the yin yoga approach, we just allow the joints to kind of hang out here. And I like this as well. As long as the knee feels comfortable this way, you're not feeling pressure into the front knee, it feels comfortable, you can stay here. If you do need to adjust, go ahead and adjust it. But why I like to have my knee over the line of my ankle and my toes is because I get this really nice additional bonus stretch into my Achilles heel, into the back of the ankle joints here, okay? So usually you will have the palms down this way, or you might come down onto the elbows. We're going to avoid that today because you want to come into the stomach meridian, so you're going to keep the torso upright. Now to keep it upright, you might use your props. If you feel that you need to, you can always use 2 blocks underneath the palms. The blocks can be medium height or tall height, okay, depending on your body, alright? Or maybe you could use just one prop if you just have the one block underneath a sit bone, okay? So this is supporting underneath my left buttock. If I have the luxury of a bolster, you can use a bolster as well, okay? So you could do it this way, or you could not use any props at all as you keep the torso upright, and this is absolutely fine. As long as you feel comfortable and you're able to be here for about 30 breaths, which is the equivalent of 3 minutes. You're doing absolutely fine. Okay? So most important is about function of the pose and where we're feeling it, and we're able to stay for a while without feeling that we're struggling, then that's absolutely great. Now you can stay here in this pose, and maybe in the last minute, or maybe you want to add on just a couple more breaths here, you can come into a small variation for this, into what we call dragon tail, and this is when you might use your strap. Okay, so if you're going to use the strap, make sure that you open up the strap, and okay, you use the long side to thread through both the rings, okay, this way, and then you bring it back onto the other side and keep a big loop. Alright, start with a big loop. So from here now, the leg that is still extended, so this is my right leg that is extended. I'm going to bend the back knee, and I'm going to bring the loop of the strap towards the direction of my foot, okay, towards the top of my foot here. And then I'm going to just wear the strap around my shoulder joint this way. So here I'm getting more stretch into the quads and into the hip flexors this way, because I have to flex my shin bone this way. And I can always maybe intensify the sensation. Maybe I get an extra bonus stretch into the knee joint if the knee feels comfortable. As I just shorten the strap this way, and I can stay here really comfortably, relatively comfortably for 3 minutes. Okay, so rather than holding onto it for 3 minutes or the last minute, or if it's just the last minute, okay, that's absolutely fine. Then once you're done on this one side here, okay, you can go ahead and release the strap, okay, down. If you're not using the strap, don't worry about it. Maybe you bring the palms down, and then you remove your props, whatever props that you are using, and then really slowly ease out of it as you slowly shift the hips back and behind. And as you do this, you can maybe feel the whole body kind of just sighing with release. And you might sit back and behind into child pose position, or you might prefer to stay upright, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, so you can always come into this rebound or this release to really feel the sensations of the energetic flow coming back into the area of the target area that you just worked into. All right, before you come into the other side. Alright, so when you come into the other side, make sure that you have your props accordingly, padding underneath the knee joint if you need to, blocks underneath the palms, or underneath the sit bone, and it's an option to use a strap if you're going to lift the back foot to come into the dragon tail. Okay, and know that maybe what you do on the other side could look slightly different, but would feel maybe just as good. And again, this is really just due to skeletal variation. Sometimes the foot is slightly inwards, sometimes the foot is slightly outwards. It doesn't matter where you place the foot, as long as you are feeling the stretch in the target area that we were talking about, which is the hip flexors and into the quads. Okay, and this is what we mean by a functional approach to a yoga practice. Okay, so I hope that you have found this video beneficial and insightful for you. Maybe you will apply some of this knowledge into your yoga practice now, whether it's a yin practice or an asana based practice, or maybe any other movement practice. Okay, skeletal variations is something that I wish that everyone understood a little bit more about, so that we can all go about practicing really safely and accordingly to how our bodies need to be doing it. Alright, so thank you so much for your time and for joining me here. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!